Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of The Vision, the complete collection. It's an Eisner Award winner, apparently. I just noticed actually, and it's got a family tree in front, which gives a general clue to most of the stories in the book. So you can see all the various people there and see it on the back. Now, this book came out in 2019, apparently. There's also an extended cut or director's version, apparently an extra. However, it looks like that's out of print. So I got this, 272 pages, and that's by King Walta Bellaire, obviously Marvel Comics. I got mine copy in 2021, so it's fairly late. Already noticed it again seems to be tricky to get, so I was quite lucky I got a copy. And there's all the various details, and you can see basically the story there. That's the story. So if you come into it looking for action, adventure, Doctor Doom, destruction of the universe, no, potentially it could be destruction of the universe, but there's lots of, that's not going to happen in this. Though there is some violence and some and problems. Of course, there has to be problems. It'd be a very boring book if it was like the Dick Van Dyke Show and it all just went smoothly. There was just a bit of comedy. And there's comedy all the way through it, though a very subtle, dry comedy. There's a robot, synthesoid, he says, synthesoid humour all the way through it. But I love all the neighbours as well. Not sure what they're doing, and obviously their way. The covers are great. I love the covers. The covers are sometimes better than the actual stories. I think the covers are brilliant, but there you've got a certain muted colour scheme. You've obviously got these very bright, muted, I said bright, but it's, I suppose bright compared with the background, but still the greens, you can definitely see the green. That's what I mean, that's more the point. But it's very muted. You've got these browns, there's all this everyone's like in a such shadow. It's not dark. Like sometimes most modern comics seem to be excessive, about 4 tons of black ink and very little anything else, as far as I can see. And that's my criticism of modern comics compared with the 60s and 70s, that is, old-fashioned maybe. But you've got that Suburbia. Now, very different from the Suburbia, and I love all where they show around the house as well. Very different from the UK, of course. This world completely different. All the houses, the picket fence sort of thing, the mailbox, all those sort of things. Nothing like that here, really. It's probably some places, but it's most and not like that. I love that he's got a job as well. Vision works at the White House. You see him flying away there, but he's not paid. Apparently, the Avengers don't pay anyone anymore. It's really bad, isn't it? You're saving the world 37 times, as he points out, quite a few times, all the way through this. However, and again, I'm just going to be very careful what pages I show because there's some. I love the principal, or headmaster, it would be, obviously, or head teacher, I suppose, whatever you want to call, in the UK. And you've got him there. And of course, still mentioned 37 times. Save the universe, save the world 37 times. Probably the universe as well. Thanos. Most, obviously, that sort of thing. However, you've got some problems with the neighbourhood kids, which of course would be expected, a bit of vandalising, etc. However, things start to go a bit rotten in this thing, and all the characters all start. There's problems. It's not the happy, innocent family, and you've got Vision sort of discussing things in all very super logical ways. There's all sort of just even scenes that the conventional scenes that you would see in the story are all in here. However, because it's done by the Vision and his wife and kids, it's all sort of straight, played straight, but you know what it is. The reference is all as obvious as anything, but it's still, at the same time, just brilliantly done. And I love the humour. The humour is great. Not, I would say, a high-impact book. It didn't come away from this sort of thinking, wow, really exhilarated. Wow, that was really... But I must admit, makes you certainly think, obviously, what would you do in a situation where it's... Not that that's ever going to happen. Any kids floating around sort of up in the sky and all those things. But who knows? I would love it. I've just been seventh heaven. If the Vision, whatever, the family moved next door to me, I'd be like going, yes, wow. This would be amazing. So you chat, what do you do? You fought Galactus today. What was Galactus like? Those sort of things. I'd be like, whoa, I'd be seventh heaven. Maybe not everyone would be, but I'd be, ooh. Imagine you could write definitely a good book. I knew the Vision kind of book as well later on. You'd have a field day, all that sort of stuff. But anyway, not just that. but purely just to be fascinating. I love the family meetings as well. They have exactly the same things as most families. Squabbles, problems, but squabbles not in the conventional sense. There's not, we sort of do your homework and everyone's all computerised, sort of, there's no sort of, just wanders off. And there's sort of like computer brain working analysis of this situation. There's no sort of anything like that. We'll just sit there. And the words play a big part of this. There's lots of great text. I just love some of the, and there's also, of course, there's some human interaction as well. Some characters come, but they seem to be less important, particularly. Though obviously there is an importance to them. However, get to my favourite character in the whole book, and I show that bit because I can't show much more. There, here's that dog. I love that dog. The dog's great. There's a lovely dog. I think that the dog would have a complete collection in his own right. So that would be, I would be over the moon. Wanda's in it as well, of course. Wanda and the Scarlet Witch and Vision. Obviously, you can tell from the thing. Obviously, plug in that. And of course, with the TV series and all that sort of stuff. But obviously, that was done before anyway. This book was done, obviously, a bit before the WandaVision, which I haven't seen yet. I am looking forward to watch an episode or two tonight. I will go and sit down, finally resubscribe to Disney. And you got, obviously, and I've recently read the stories that are related in this, the Scarlet Witch, and I think it's great to see the Scarlet Witch in this. Obviously, she's not a massive part of the story, but the Avengers do turn up. There's the Avengers in bits and pieces in the story. But the dog is just woof. It doesn't have much, doesn't say much. It's just got woof. Now, maybe, of course, it's a computerised woof. Maybe the connection with the Vision and the dog and that sort of stuff is great, but woof. It's just the eyes and everything. Just lovely. He's going woof. Really, they really must have spent a long time working on the text for this. Woof. That's why it would be such a brilliant book. You could bring out a 12-issue book, and all the character would just say woof all the way through it, and it would be brilliant. Just with the eyes would be just great. Just you could work the story out. Howard the Duck. Why not Vision? Vision's dog. Not saying got a name. Might have a name. Dog. He's just called Dog. Anyway, enough of that. The story is absolutely brilliant. However, did it have massive impact in terms of action, violence, rock and roll, everything else? No. However, as a good, plain story, the characters, the relationships, and I actually warmed to all these characters, and it was quite fascinating just reading this. It was very different from your normal comic. So if you're looking for a very unusual comic, I think this one you might come across and think, well, actually, that was very different, interesting. That's good. Good to, I think, it'd be boring if they were all battling Galactus or Ultron or, whatever, all the time. Saving the world every day. Must be pretty boring. Maybe not. However, great covers. They got lots of variant covers, sketches in the back. I love, there's a nice sketch there. You got some great bonus material at the back. Oh, I must admit, I always think, why, especially when it's quite a thin, complete collection, why they couldn't have just done full page of the work in progress colours. I would have loved to see. I always think it's just such a pity when they do it, especially here, like you've got there sketches, right, tiny ones. Why not put those? I assume that they were bigger than that. Why not have them full page? I mean, you could have 40 pages, 50 pages of extras. Maybe charge another $1 or so. Though obviously trying to keep it under the $29.99 maybe. But it's still, it would have been nice to have had bigger. It's still a real nice selection of extras. That's not a criticism of the extras that are really bad. And I love the initial sketches showing the family as they started out. I think the final result was much better than the early. The early would have been, you wouldn't have warmed to them. No, I think I really warmed to these characters. They, even obviously the fact they've got generally expressionists, it just doesn't matter. You can just work it out. What the just the silence is enough to work out what's happening in the storyline. And but you see I'll just show you that there. Not so nice. I don't think that would have been such a good. You wouldn't have warmed to them, and that's the key thing in any story, isn't it? You want to warm to the characters. You don't warm to even the villains. You just got to feel some sympathy for the main villain. There is a main villain in this story. I just never liked. I have to say, relentlessly never liked at any point ever. There's nothing I can really relate to. Yeah. So, however, the back you've obviously got some details, and what's that? Vision number 7. Obviously, that's a lovely one with. And also you got the West Coast Avengers, which is of course connected with the story as well. So it's that's worth getting. I love that. That was an actually brilliant volume. West Coast Avengers Epic Collection, superb. Especially John Byrne. Love his artwork. However, this artwork in here was very good. Different again. Very, very stylised, very unusual. But wow. Loved it. Absolutely loved this book. Definitely recommended. Yeah. As it says, a comic book masterpiece. And I think probably right. So, New York Times. Wow, New York Times. I didn't notice it was New York Times. That's a good recommendation. Not that I get the New York Times. When you get the UK Times or the Independent or something. But I don't know.